We open on a scene of complete tumult. The docks are flooded. You see bodies strewn on the docks, on the shore. Scotland Yard is trying to hold several people back. Not only witnesses, but also some of the dock strike breakers that were trying to attack the workers. And in the river itself, you see this swirling mass of fish and crabs and crustaceans and luminous jellyfish that seems to take on the aspect of a face. And a maw starts to open, and somehow a voice opens to it. And your contact, your occultist friend, Nim Granby, it's like, even in this dampened atmosphere, still trying to light his cigarette. And, oh, fuck. Still fucked to shit. Do you have that offering? What were you going to do to form the alliance with the Guardian? It's right there.
This is Mordecai's department, not mine. I don't know how you go about making an offering to something like this.
When the voice comes out of the Guardian in the river, it sounds like a cacophony of horns and drums that thrum in your bones as it asks, "Allow the rituals to continue. Protect my workers."
We will bring the sacrifices. I think there are some of these strikebreakers still around, right?
Oh yeah. Like
Okay.
they're kind of like they've been held back by some of the bobbies, like off to the side. Because they're kind of like not under like handcuffs or anything like that. I don't know what they have in this era, but I mean, like, they've been kind of quelled a little bit. But what do we see, like, as the camera pans across the four of you that are there?
I think with Mordecai, you can already see these entities moving beneath his skin because he's preparing to do a thing. But before he does a thing, you look to Ellie and say, well, get these strikebreakers into the water, please.
And Ellie, her long coat streaming with water, because she's been tumbled into the flood waters more than once in the course of the struggle, uh, is striding past the bobbies, laying a hand on the collar of two strike breakers, and hauling them toward the river.
Hey, get off me! Get off me! Just, what the fuck are you doing? Get off me!
You're gonna pay the price, pal.
Just working for the owners. Just, why aren't they here then?
Now you ask the question.
Felix will raise the knife that he's just kind of been fiddling with. That's a good point. Turning to the other strikebreakers who are not being dragged off to be sacrificed. Where is your employer? Where is he now?
And I think some of the strikebreakers are kind of like looking at each other, and then they all as one will look behind them into a string of well-suited people that are kind of like watching and whispering amongst each other.
And Felix will just find the like biggest burly sort of the strikebreaker that they're all looking towards. And you're just going to let him get away with that? Just throw you under the bus like that? Why should you listen to him?
Should I be
And
listening to you, sir?
I'm simply asking you if you had the means, and I'll slip a knife, and an opportunity, what would you do? And then Felix is going to walk past the strikebreakers and go to the finely well dressed gentlemen who are whispering.
Yes.
Gentlemen. Or, and I'm going to try and find the one that is running the show.
Ridiculous event, isn't it?
And what, you couldn't trust your own men to finish the job? Very poor show of recruitment.
We can always find more. Ship them in from other places, of course. Ships are coming in all the time.
To what end? That's so much loss. There has to be a more effective way, a more profitable way to resolve this, don't you think? And I mean, the men, they're shaken. There's that brute of a woman over there dragging off your men. And aren't you the big, strong leader? Aren't you supposed to go and inspire them? Come now, show some of that British guff.
Indeed. Indeed. Maybe I will.
And I'll give him a pat on the back and let him go and speak to those strike workers that he's hired.
Yeah. What is your goal here? Like for the head honcho and then the strike worker?
I want the strike worker to use the means that I have offered him and take the well paid boss and give him to Ellie. Because the strike worker is clearly seen this guy isn't willing to stick his neck out. And I'm trying to puff up this guy with pride. Like, you're the boss, aren't you? Go take charge.
Is that a use of giveth?
No, I was hoping to use presence to convince people.
Okay, go ahead. Roll, please.
Okay. That is an 8.
Okay. Alrighty. So with an 8, you have a mixed success. So that is succeeding. That is having them succeed. You get them to do what you want, but there is a bit of complication. Let me see. Are you trying to convince the head honcho, or are you convincing the dock worker, the strike breaker?
I gave the strike breaker a knife and
Yeah.
I said, what are you going to do if you're given an opportunity? I am trying to convince the head honcho to provide that opportunity.
Yeah.
And just to verify for the between, marking personal quarters items gives you advantage, while a mask can be marked after a result to increase the rating.
So long as okay, so personal quarters items can be used for advantage so long as it's not going against something that is giving you disadvantage. Okay. And then you can use a mask to bump up your result
Okay.
if you're not happy with it. Yeah.
Okay. The die has been cast. I'm just marking it for the future.
Yeah. Okay. So, complication. I will give you a complication later. Or a condition.
Condition works.
Yeah, so let's see. Do you feel anything for the? No, you know what? Actually, I think the dock worker is probably the strike breaker is probably going to you know um follow you around like a puppy dog. Because if you're not activating Giveth, then it's basically like where he's going to be he's going to be quite struck by you.
Okay. So
Yeah, doing what you say. All right,
okay.
Jiayi, what are you doing?
I think we cut back to the action and we
Mm-hmm.
see a very young sailor, clearly like deeply overwhelmed and terrified of what is happening here. And I think he's like, like rounding a corner, scrambling away as some of those strike breakers are like following him and taunting him. He's looking around, like not sure where to go, not sure what to do. Um, Very young. Like he should not be here. This should not be happening to him. This is, like very baby face probably came because some of his friends were here or he felt like obligated. We can see like tears like on his eyelashes that he's like refusing to let fall as he's kind of scrambling away. And this like big unit of a strike breaker sort of like grinning, this cocky, like, oh, look at this. Look at this little coward here. Like you thought you were gonna have a revolution. You thought you were gonna do something here, and he's like sort of walking forward, like maybe even like doing the thon thing bit with a stick to sort of really hammer home what he's gonna do. And then we hear like almost like a little tinkling on the rooftop of a warehouse. A silk scarf drops down. It's beautiful midnight blue with like sparkling sequins resembling stars. We hear a little and then whoosh, it goes around to Strikebreaker's neck as he's hoisted up into the air, dragged onto the roof, where Jiayi just leans over him and says, now, 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 let's play with someone your own size. She takes out her midnight, like the ornate flower pin, and jabs it in his neck.
Night
And then
move. Yep.
drops to, no, that's just me doing a
Oh,
night move if you want me to.
sure.
But I'll just kill him and I'll drop the body back as a threat.
Oh, nice. Okay. Uh,
I can do a night with vitality if you want me to.
um. Yeah, actually, because it's like considering considering the fun it is for doing the night move. Let's see how if he gets away or let's see what could go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve.
I mean, easy, right? There were more of them, and they're now all focused on me. I had the
Yep.
element of surprise. I
Yep.
lost it.
Yeah. Okay.
What makes it worse than that?
I think he will have a connection to your hunters.
Sure.
He recognizes you. Yep. Yep. And then he's able to get word back somehow. All right. So, go ahead and roll with vitality, please.
Well, that is an 11.
All right.
So, yeah, I think, as I said, I think that's the scene, right? He's hoisted up.
Yep.
I like just very quickly, very elegantly take out the pin. My hair like falls, does cascades down. I stab him, and it was like very elegant and sweet. I put it back, and then I just drop. I think we see like the other strike breakers kind of like going, just what the fuck, and then the body of their buddy just thud right in
Nice.
front of them. And when they look up, the young sailor has run away.
Awesome. Brilliant. All right. And Mordecai. So, what
As
are you
this, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
As the scene unfolds with these bosses and strike breakers, and everybody is, I imagine, not too far from the water, right? Not too far, not super close. But I think, and I would ask you if I can do this. Can I? There are a lot of rats on the docks, right? Can
There's
I
a lot
summon
of
them? Rats.
yeah,
Can I summon them?
sure.
Okay.
I mean, some of them might have. I mean, like a lot of them might have run away because of like the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I need to summon them.
Okay. Alrighty.
I would like to summon them as close to the strikebreakers and especially the bosses as I can to just, unsettle them a little. Maybe get them to walk in the wrong direction away from the rats.
Hem them in, huh? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ellie is familiar with my work, so I imagine that she's not too frazzled.
Okay.
That means I have to roll my ritual thing, right? Yes.
Yes.
I'm doing that with sensitivity.
Yes.
Oh, it's a 10 for the rats.
Magic works without further cost. You just choose your effect.
Yeah, that's my effect.
Okay.
Rats come up and frazzle. Maybe even hot. Maybe even cool. Is quarry the right word? Like chase them in some sort of direction that I want them to go, closer to the water.
Oh, okay. So basically, you're trying to get all the like strike breakers and the head honchos, like to get.
And the head honchos mostly. I mean, the strike breakers.
Oh, sure.
As Felix pointed out, they are just the tools. Even though I do not like them, the head honchos are more important, and that's where the cancer lies, right?
Right. And I think like Nim will like look at you admiringly and then just say, "Oh shit, are you actually offering up the head honchos? Are you offering up the owners? That's brilliant, mate.
We need to get rid of them anyway." I think you can see as this ritual commences, because these entities walk under his skin, right? You can see some blood coming from his nose.
And he'll slap his jacket and like his innumerable pockets and just like pull out a handkerchief and say, "Hey, just want to clean that up."
Oh yes, thank you. I will ignore this grubby handkerchief and pull out one of my own.
Of course, and as you do that, as you all watch, like the head honchos go in there, like Ellie, it's like maybe you still have your big guys like in hand, or maybe you aren't. Maybe you're all watching, like the rats herd the head honchos in. The big swirling mass of the guardian turns towards this ruckus, because you can't miss this mound of piling rats, like forcing this little group of huddled head honchos going towards the water. And it turns, and then the maw opens again, and then this again, the cacophony of horns and drums just goes, "Offering accepted." And the maw opens up wider and then scoops them up and then takes them in, and it's almost like a rolling ball as the maw closes on top of them and then rolls down under. But unfortunately, it's like now there's a big wash of a wave that comes over the shore. Unfortunately, like some of you may get caught in the splash, maybe not, who knows. And then the water is still. The guardian is appeased, and the threat is over. And Nim will look at you all, or at least look at Mordecai, since he's closest, and go, "Cigarette?"
I think I will partake for this instance. Thank you.
All right. And that earns you time and tide. Custom move from this particular threat. Now, if I did this right, this will appear after the cold open, after the intro. Hi, I'm Mads, she, they, and I welcome you to The Between, subtitled Secrets in Lavender. This series will be playtesting my original Mastermind, as well as a playbook, The Fox, by Kevin McHugh, which we'll get into more later. For now, let's get introduced to our players, starting with Mike. If you can just do your pronouns, your experience with The Between, and your interest in this particular game, and then go around to popcorn it to someone else. Okay?
Sure. My name is Mike, he, him. I previously played along with you as Sir Atticus Wellington Hughes IV, which was very fun. And I'm honestly just looking forward to engaging with you as a keeper again and playing the Undeniable, which should be an interesting playbook. And then I'll pass it to Sabine.
Hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns. I have been playing The Between on and off for a while, ever since I became aware of it, which was, I think, even before Brindlewood Bay got started. So, yeah, but I never got into a really long form game of it, and now I am, and I'm very happy to do this. I am playing the Vessel, which also should be, I guess, kind of fun. Oh, and I'm popcorning it to Jazy.
Yes. Hi, I am Jazy, she, her pronouns. I have been playing The Between, I think, for basically 2 years, where I have not been without a campaign of it for very long. I really love it. I wrapped up a campaign yesterday. Had a finale yesterday, and we'll have another finale probably in a few weeks. So that's very exciting. This particular game, I am very looking forward to your Mastermind. I think that's really fun. And this is a very new group for me to play in this particular game. And I've never played with Mike before, so I'm looking forward to that a lot. And I will be playtesting slash playing The Fox, a homebrew playbook that I think is very cool and has some really great potential. So I'm super interested in that. And I'll give it to Kathleen.
Hi, I'm Kathleen, she, they, and this is my first time playing The Between. I'm super excited because I have wanted to for a while, and I've played a campaign of Brindlewood Bay, the Golden Grifters campaign under Mads. So she's the only one here I've played a long form campaign with. I've done one shots with Jazy and have not played with Mike or Sabine before. So I am very, very excited to be here, and I'll be playing the American.
And again, I'm Mads, Madelancholy, for full. And yeah, I played in both seasons of the Shadow Society series on Jason Cordova's channel of The Between. And that's how I started. And other wonderful playthroughs, of course, of Gauntlet games. And I got to run. I had the great privilege and pleasure to run 4 complete series of The Between on my YouTube channel. So now I'm running my own, yet another one, and I'm running my own mastermind. So we'll see how this goes. All right. So wish us luck. All right. So to continue onward with this, we're going to go on to review CATS, which is concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. This is laying out expectations for the table, for our premise and our purpose for being here, and to make sure that everybody is clear, what we're doing. If you'd like to follow along, it's in our character keeper that we all share. And concept. The Between is a tabletop role-playing game about a group of mysterious monster hunters in Victorian-era London. These hunters learn about various monstrous threats in the city and conduct investigations, or hunts, in order to neutralize them. Over time, they become aware of the plans of a criminal mastermind who is pulling the strings behind the scenes. These hunters will eventually be forced to confront this criminal mastermind in order to save Queen and country. The Between is directly inspired by the TV show Penny Dreadful, but also takes inspiration from British horror classics, the works of Arthur Conan Doyle, pulp-era media, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and From Hell. The game's mechanics are based in Apocalypse World and Brindlewood Bay. Players don't need to know anything about these two games before playing. The aim of the characters in the story are to keep London safe by investigating monstrous threats and learning how to stop them. Players aim to learn more about these characters' mysterious pasts, as well as to paint a vivid picture of their version of Victorian-era London, responsibilities all of us share. The aim of the first session is to create and introduce the characters, learn the basics of how the game works by playing it, and then having a debrief period at the end. The tone of The Between is dark, mysterious, and sensual. A little bit of levity or humor from time to time is okay, but you should always strive to return to that dark, brooding place the characters exist in. Subject matter: murder, cannibalism, body horror, dark sexual themes, erotic sensuality, threats to animals and children, foul language, blasphemy, witchcraft, and defiling graves and corpses are all things that come up frequently in this game. This game deals with dark and intense subject matter. That said, we will review safety tools available to all of us at the table to keep the game fun and accessible for everyone, including me as keeper. We generally have X-Card, Open Door, Script Change, and Lines and Veils. X-Card, of course, is where we would, if something comes up in an objectionable, in an unfun way, we would either make an X in the video, say X-Card out loud, or X in the chat, and we would stop play, find out what is exactly needing to be X-carded, take that out, and continue play. We would ask what needs to be, clarify what needs to be taken out, but never ask why. Okay? Open door. I mean, if you have to go get your, somebody's at the door, just say, be right back, like open door. Or if you decide after a bit that this game is not for you, just say, I need to open door out of this game. No hard feelings, no big deal. Just let us know if you are just leaving for the moment, the scene, or completely out of the game, just so we know. And then again, open door policy is completely free. We will never ask you why you are open dooring, unless you want to, let us know. Script change. Script change is pretty simple. So we have access to the tools of pause, rewind, fast forward, and resume. So pause is pretty self-explanatory. If we need to take a break, it's like, definitely like take a break to, just kind of like stop and find out like, what needs to, what we need to talk about or what have you. Rewind if something seems to be off tonally, or if, oh, no, let me take that back. Let me take back that action that didn't seem to be what I wanted to do. That's perfectly fine. Fast forward is if the scene seems to be going on a little bit too long. I mean, like, somebody could just say, let's fast forward. Like, we can just go through. We don't have to role play this. Just fast forward through it. Or even resume is like, when we feel it's comfortable to resume play. We can totally do that. Okay. And then finally, lines and veils. We have a character keeper, which keeps all of our information about the characters, as well as information about the threats and information about the game. And there is a safety tab, which contains our lines and veils. So lines are things that should not be included in our game at all. These are topics that we do not want and are not interested in role-playing whatsoever and including in our game world. So they are lined out. Veils are things that may come up or be present in the game world, but won't be described in any detail. They may come up as flashbacks, memories, things that could be faded to black, or, like I said, veiled. So those are marked accordingly. There's also columns for ask first. So if something could be approaching something that could be possibly triggering, we could mark that as an ask first, just to kind of approach with caution. And an interest column, because everybody has an interest in body horror. So sure, why not? People can mark that accordingly. This is a living document. So at any time, if something may be may be fine, but maybe in a different scene it may be triggering. It's perfectly fine to mark it and then just give a heads up to everybody to let us know that something has changed in the lines and veils. And then we can check it and then make sure that we continue to check it constantly to make sure that we're always, 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 always on the same page. And we just ask that we don't downgrade somebody's line into a veil or a veil into an ask first and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. And that is safety. Any questions whatsoever so far? And we do have notes, just so we know. There are notes for the lines and veils. So if like anybody needs to be specific about anything, this is again, it's like a living document, like where we can be very specific about like what we what our needs are. Oh, and then there is also romance plot consent, relationship consent and that sort of thing. So the players can definitely say whether they are okay with romance with PCs or romance with NPCs and also include notes and preferences therein. Okay, so we are aware of preferences to that as well. Okay. Yeah, so that covers all of the safety and expectations for the table. If there are no questions, now we get to the fun part, which is the characters. I had asked the players to go through and mark up choose their playbooks and mark up their playbooks as much as they so choose. And there were no questions, yay. Um, people were pretty familiar with what to do. And let me see, I'm just making sure. Yep, okay. It looks pretty complete. So we're going to go through each person's playbook. You would go through and we're going to just, after I read the little blurb up at the top, you're just going to say the character, yeah, I can't speak. Character name, pronouns, like what they look like, their look, vice, and if you'd like to mention anything about, their moves. Yeah, that should do it for right now. And like we'll go through each person like one at a time, and then once we're done with just the character introductions, then we're gonna go back and let me see. Let me just think about it. Think about this for a minute. No, it's like we'll do I'll read the blurb and then we'll hear about be introduced to the character and then we'll say and then I'll go through the whole thinking upon this, like what do we think is in the personal quarters, and I'll explain about the personal quarters when we get to it. Okay. All right. So starting from character keeper order, the American. You grew up in a big city on the eastern seaboard of the United States, the scion of a prominent family. But you detested that life, the formality, the pretension, the venomous hypocrisy, and so you went west. You had adventures, got good with a gun, even joined a traveling show for a time, but then came the curse, and everything changed. You did your best to control it, and some nights were definitely worse than others. But eventually it got to be too much. Even your days were affected by the changes within you. Your behavior became reckless and unpredictable. And then you had to run, far away. In the end, it was London calling, a thick, throbbing mass of humanity within which to lose yourself. The whole world and all its lovely pleasures right within your grasp. But the curse has found you, like it always does. Hopefully, these new folks, these hunters you're thrown in with, can help you for good, permanent like, when the time comes. Kathleen, please introduce us to your American.
Ellie Fletcher. Some people call me the Angel. Uh, got some mighty fancy boots, crocodile leather with some fancy lapis detail. Got a long black coat that's kind of frayed around the edges, and sharp cheekbones. And there's one thing I've found that can help me deal with my situation a bit. Mm, that's the opium pipe.
Interesting. Opium, you say, huh? What kind of moves do you have there?
My the playbook move is what's it called here? The quickening, which is when my it's all about the curse. Uh, Makes me stronger and faster. Sometimes I can control it right, sometimes not so much, uh, which can have plenty of repercussions. And my additional move is as cruel as the harlot's curse, which is about indulging my vice uh, alone, and can let me not only clear conditions, but make friends, get clues, things like that. Uh, so sometimes I stumble on interesting things when I'm checking out the opium dens.
Yeah, you do. All right. Upon hearing that, what do we think is. Excuse me. Let me explain about personal quarters. So, personal quarters, if you're familiar with Car from Brindlewood games at least, especially Brindlewood Bay, is your equipment room. Um, Sometimes they're full of things that are too big to be moved. However, you can use these to help with any rolls. So if you come up with any conditions, for the most part, um, like if like a condition is laid upon you, it usually will cause disadvantage mechanically towards a roll. If you use a personal quarters item, if you check off a personal quarters item against it, either a memory or actually using the personal quarters item, and check it off mechanically, then you cancel out that disadvantage. Okay, um, I will not say that the personal quarters item is lost. Like, in other words, if you have it in your personal quarters, you will have it fictionally. So you can only mark it off the once, one check mark, until you get that advancement where you can unmark them. But you will still have it in your personal quarters item unless something disastrous happens where you lose it. Like, you roll a miss on something and then, oh shit, you broke it or you lost it or whatever. And then that's the only consequence that I'll say that, you won't have it anymore. Okay? So, just know that that's the benefit of having personal quarters. And we, as a table, will help populate. So each one of us will give you a personal quarters item, including me. So, upon hearing this about Ms. Fletcher, what do we think is in Miss Fletcher's personal quarters?
I have an idea. I think you have a pair of silver riding spurs. Probably don't need them in London, but I mean, you got them and they're valuable enough, right? And who knows what you can do with that.
In desperate straits, they could always be used as a weapon.
I think you have a bundle of very personal letters from your time out in the West, whether they're a memory of better times or a reminder of why you went west is up to you, but they're personal and they must be important if you brought them all the way to London.
I like it.
I think you have a leather-bound roll of a set of throwing knives. However, in one pocket of the throwing knives is a special lock of hair. Only you know whose hair that is?
This is a bit more esoteric and perhaps not an item in the traditional sense. But do you have the true name of an angel?
Love it. Damn. Beautiful. Beautiful.
These are great. Thank you all.
That is our American. Oh my goodness. Oh, next is our undeniable. You have always been the most beautiful person in the room. Your looks have opened doors for you for as long as you can remember. All the money and material things anyone could want laid at your feet. Artists have found inspiration in the brightness of your eyes, the delicate curve of your cheekbones, the plump softness of your lips. One such artistic work, a masterwork, rises above them all, for it captures the essence of you. It is quite simply more you than you. Lately, people sacrifice everything to be near you, to please you, and, if they're lucky, to touch you. But what to do when you get bored with being one of the gods? Mike, please introduce us to the undeniable.
I am playing Felix Ocasio. I have flawless skin, a pair of perfectly tailored corduroy pants, and jewelry that's understated. As for vices, I'm given so many things, why not gamble? It's something that I can't ever control, and I'll always get it back. As for my moves, the main playbook move is the reflection. Somewhere in London, hidden from the world, is a masterwork created in my image. It is, in this case, a woven tapestry. I don't know, Mads, would you want me to go in detail or do we save that for later?
Save that for later when we actually get to see it.
Suffice to say, then, that the masterwork is me, only more so. And eventually it will degrade as I do things that may scar that reflection. We can cover that later. Not really important. We'll never come up. As for particular moves, I've chosen to start with the collection. I have access to a collection of rare, one of a kind artifacts. And I have opted to start with Judith's knife, a woman known for her beauty and using that to kill a general.
All right. Upon hearing that, what do we think is in Felix's, or excuse me, Mr. Ocasio's personal quarters?
You have a beautifully engraved silver snuff box. But what's inside is actually a mixture of snuff and finely powdered rose petals.
You have a set of outsized dice, six-sided dice, and they are gemstones. They are made of gemstone. What gemstone is up to you, but I think on the sixth side, for each of these dice, someone has put your profile on it.
I believe someone gave you a set of very unusual perfumes. They claim that all of these scents reminded them of you. I will leave it up to you to decide what these smells are.
You have the arrow that killed Achilles.
All right. Thank you.
I I mean, Jazy coming up with all these damn gifts is fire. I'm like, we're not gonna give her anything great. It's gonna be. Ugh.
That one is a repeat because last time I said it too, everybody went bonkers, and I was like, okay, that's fun. Let's see if that has the same reaction again.
Yeah, I'll take a weapon that was used to kill a guy who is nigh immortal. Let's go.
Like, not apropos of nothing, but I'm reading the Song of Achilles right now, and it's like really good. Oh man. Oh gosh. And yeah, that is our undeniable. Wow. Amazing. Oh sheesh. And now for our vessel. For as long as you can remember, dark entities have been near. They lurk just inside your peripheral vision, just at the mirror's edge. When you close your eyes, you can actually feel them, their cold breath, their oily touch, an occasional feverish embrace. They want to be inside you. They want to rub against your guts and deposit their power. Others are drawn to you as well, those who would use you to master these dark things in order to serve their own agenda. Some of these interlopers, these usurpers, can be of use, such as the hunters with whom you share a home. Others, like the coven, are best avoided. In either case, you are no one's object, tool, or weapon. You are no mere bystander. Your fate is yours to shape. Sabine, please introduce us to your vessel.
Yes, I play the vessel. His name is Mordecai Laurence. He uses he or they pronouns. Mordecai has the standard looking tattoos, which he usually covers, wears onyx and amethyst jewelry, and has paper white skin. His vice is hunting. He just likes the thrill of the chase, not so much the physical chase, but the intellectual thing that comes before it, the setting of traps, the figuring out the weakness of the prey. That is what really excites him. His moves are, let me look at that. Yes, the rites of salt and smoke. He can contact his dark entities and perform rituals that, for want of a better word, you can call magic. To do this, he has to give these entities access to his body sensations, lets them inside and wander around with their almost, but not quite undetectable physical presence. It's not a pleasant sensation, but it gives him power. His other move is a beacon in the dark. When he walks the streets of London at night, his consciousness spreads around the city like a vast spider web. This is helpful with hunting things. This is also something that lends itself to sit on a rooftop and loot. Yeah, and I think that's it. He speaks, I have to say, he speaks with a very high class English accent. I can't emulate this because I am not a high class British citizen. So just we'll have to imagine it. That's what I have to ask.
It's perfectly fine. Knowing this, what do we think is in Mr. Lawrence's personal quarters?
You have an intricately detailed ivory hunting horn.
You have a small leather bag filled with very fragile, charred bones. Looks like some sort of bird.
I think you I think you have a leather-bound journal because since you like the intellectual side of of hunting, perhaps you have journaled or kept notes on some of your better hunts, like where you've like um, recorded some of your success, what has worked, what hasn't. Yeah.
And I will give you obsidian earrings that whisper to you.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
These are such pretty people. Damn. And that is our vessel. Mm. And now for our fox. Hopefully I'm pronouncing these right. Kitsune, Kumiho, Hulijing. Mankind has many names for your sort, but to your kind, they've always been just prey. When you are kind, you steal their energy. When you are cruel, you eat their hearts. This is how it's always been. But natural curiosity got the better of you, and you took a longer look. You were snared by that insidious thing they call love. It did not end well, it never does. But now you are part of their world, and there is nothing left for you in your homeland. So you came to theirs, only to find that here you are not the hunter, but the hunted. You've escaped danger before, but it's just a matter of time before you've tracked down again. Now you've taken shelter right under their noses. The hunters of Hargrave House do not suspect you, but they are not the only hunters out there. Loath as you are to admit it, these could be the useful stooges you need if the work doesn't kill you first. Convince them you're not a monster, and maybe they'll be there for you when your pursuers come for your tail. Jazy, please introduce us to your fox.
Yes, I will be playing Jiayi Zhao. She is, or she looks like a Chinese woman. She, her pronouns. She has like long, like very dark hair, that's like half pinned up with this beautiful ornate flower hairpin that at the end of it has a poison needle. She wears midnight black hanfu, which is like the long, like flowy Chinese clothing that you might see in wuxia pictures. Um, she has like these amber eyes that sometimes, in particular lighting, you would swear they're almost gold, which of course cannot be true. Trick of the light. Her vice is shoplifting and petty theft in general. And she always kind of looks like she's like having a private joke. Like there's just always this air around her where she's amused at something that she will not share and you don't quite understand. But something very funny is going on at all times. My dawn questions are: did you use your otherworldly charm or grace to impress someone? Did you hide your true feelings for someone beneath lies and misdirection? My playbook moves are: I am, as mentioned before, I am hiding because I am hunted. I have a certain amount of cover, which through moves or through the keeper's discretion can be lowered. I can lose this cover when I am out of cover. I will either need the help of the hunters or I will need to retire and flee to keep my life and my tails. I also have essence transfer. During a private moment, I can either steal or give energy either from a side character or other hunters. We'll go over what that all does, I think, when we get there. But basically, I can give us some extra options during a vulnerable move. And I also have the rarest bounty. Should I give in to my more monstrous nature and eat the heart or liver of a recently deceased person? I get something for that, but also I'll have done something maybe not so super great. The extra move that I took is Hypnotic Allure. I just cannot help myself but find humans so very fascinating. Uh, Unfortunately for them, they kind of grow obsessed and badly in love with me, and it does not end well for their well-being. But sometimes you just gotta risk it for love. Um, yeah, that's it for now. So what do you all think I have in my quarters?
I think you have a music box in your quarters that you probably shoplifted maybe somewhere. It usually plays a sea shanty, but sometimes, haven't figured out when, it plays something else. I'll leave it up to you what it plays then.
You have a draught of immortal elixir. Not enough to give full immortality, but probably useful in a pinch.
Go ahead.
I think you have a large fan, and it is a painted fan that you were able to coax, or I don't want to say steal because you needed you actually asked like a Chinese artisan to make for you, and they were able to see your vision, and you have it as a decoration on your wall. It's over large, which is why it's on your wall instead of folded up. Um, and you look at it and it gives you, I don't know, maybe it gives you a pleasant memory.
You have a small incense burner, uh, gilded bronze, and while you have ordinary, just pleasant smelling incense for it, you also have some that smells good to you, would be unpleasantly strong, musky to anyone else, but it reminds you of the time before you were hunted. It's the smell of a safe den, the smell of home, really.
Okay, so that is our fox, and those are our amazing characters for this campaign. Okay, cool. So now we will get to an actual day phase. Okay, so just some things to know about the between. Um, this is just in general. Um, we will try to stick to the Victorian-esque as much as possible. We may not be historically accurate, all the time, obviously. I mean, unless we look shit up and, obviously, try not to include things that are too impossible or what have you. Um, but
I whip out my cell phone.
exactly, don't do that. Although, people have tried to do some really interesting analogs for it in this particular period, steampunk it and everything. But again, we'll try to do history as best as we can. But again, don't be all you know don't worry about being historically accurate, because obviously, like, marginalized peoples would have like the roughest time during this time period. So obviously we're not going to try to repeat that. Um, and the other point is the between is about these characters who are mysterious. We don't find out about their pasts except through the use of masks, and I believe still through vulnerable moves if the question is asked, like if personal questions are asked. So try not to speak of your pasts except through those particular venues, okay? Um, and yeah, I mean,
Are
that's good.
are we doing the new rules of the vulnerable scene where it's just like the one doing the advice can talk about it freely without a question, or is it still the old rules? Do not talk unless we choose the option to have a question.
To be honest, I had not had a chance to read the new rules yet. So I mean, like if that's what it is, I mean, like we'll if they can talk about it freely, if that's their vice, then like we'll run
Yeah,
it that
I
way.
mean, to be fair, we probably won't have a vulnerable move yet because
Oh
of
yeah,
the
yeah,
as
yeah,
conditions.
yeah. But I mean, like just talk about the mysterious past thing. It's like try to avoid speaking about your past until it comes up to that particular point, and then hopefully I'll read up on the vulnerable move before then, and then I'll be able to speak about it more clearly. Um, yeah, and then so historical accuracy, not really worried about it, and then for the mysterious past, like try to keep it, you know, um, uh, kind of vague. And again, we are assuming that you have worked for a time together. We don't, you know, like no specifics how. Um, and yeah, there's always been a Hargrave house. Hunters have come and go and have been in service to Hargrave House and the Queen in resolving these strange threats to London. So, the between runs in phases, of course. Pardon. Which makes it a bit different from Brindlewood Bay. Well, not totally different, but I mean, we have specific phases, and day is where the hunters can pretty much investigate threats. They can have different scenes with each other, and it is their time. The nighttime, however, belongs to me. So, indulge while you can. Alrighty. So, the new threat. Actually, I like to establish the hunters in the household first. So, upon this new day phase, again, you've just come back from one hell of a night, soaking wet. I can't imagine any of you avoiding being completely soaked, or somewhat damp, from your outing over at the docks. Where do we find you? What do you look like this morning here at Hargrave House? Whatever morning means to you at this point.
The good thing about my old black duster is that it doesn't actually look markedly worse when it's soaked with Thames water and blood. Um, it is kind of drippy though, so I'm gonna be sure to take it off, uh, hang it in the cloakroom to dry out on the way in, so I don't drip too much on the carpet.
This is the next day, right?
Yes, this is the next day. Oh, and
Uh,
just another thing to point out about Hargrave House. It is a fine house, fine big house on Belgrave Square. You don't have any servants unless you hire someone in, which there are usually some um, like girl or boys of all work available, for a price, but they usually don't stay very long, unless you happen to have someone who brings their own servant. Then yes, you don't have access to regulars like that stay at Hargrave House. Just so you know. Okay.
Uh, the clothing from yesterday is thrown in a corner. Felix's room is pretty bare for the most part. There's a couple of nice finery, but it's not treated with any care whatsoever. As just a basic set of clothing, fits perfectly, looks wonderful, but nothing too fancy otherwise. Having just a simple breakfast, eating off of the driftwood painting that he got as a memorial to the drowned guardian. Just using it as a plate and leaving the detritus to the side.
By your side, I think the camera pans a little and you can just hear like the plunk, plunk of just an absolutely deeply concerning amount of sugar, one by one, being dropped into a cup of tea, as Jiayi is just kind of like having this little smile. Like the act of dropping in the sugar is more fun to her than the concern that she's gonna have to drink this at some point. So she's just like kind of like playing around, dripping sugar in her tea. She does not seem like tired or concerned or upset about anything that happened. She is wearing a different outfit because it would still be drying, but like very much sort of the same vibe. It's probably like a little bit more floral because we're in the morning. Probably like a little more like robe-like before she gets ready to head out, but mostly just like kind of smiling and amusing herself with the sugar.
I think you will find Mordecai in his room for now, taking off the wet clothing, throwing them in the hamper or something. Probably taking care of some of the bruises he got from the ritual he did. And yeah, throwing on, I think, some kind of morning robe because it's morning now and he needs sleep anyway. And then I think he will get some comfortable slippers, take his journal, go into wherever the meeting room is where we would have tea, and will also grab a cup of tea, black with milk, no sugar, and then start making notes in his journal. He will acknowledge that there are people there by greeting them and wishing them good morning. He is not offering a conversation for now.
Mordecai is here to do business and business-like things. Please do not interrupt.
Yeah, I mean, you know that by now that you can totally talk to him, but he's usually not the one who would start a conversation. He is not incredibly interested in small talk.
Is this okay? Good, keep going.
He's polite enough to answer if you speak to him.
Ellie drinks coffee in the morning. Sorry, way too American for tea.
Jiayi will offer you the little pot of sugar.
Yeah, sugar. Not quite as concerning an amount, but more than many people would consider appropriate. No milk though.
Are you all in a sitting room or is this in the kitchen?
Thanks.
I can see it being the kitchen if
I feel like all of these people are way too lazy to like get their coffee and then go to like the fancy sitting room. It was like,
100
nah, we need to
100%
be
this
by
is the
the
kitchen.
source.
yeah.
Mordecai would have gone into the sitting room initially, but since everybody is hanging around in the kitchen anyway, fine. He will never explain this, but apparently he enjoys your company.
In that
Aw.
case, I think we see Jiayi. She wasn't sitting at the table, but she was like hopped on the kitchen counter. where she just sat with like holding her cup and then dropping in the sugar,
Amazing.
kind of like swinging her legs a little bit. Very, very always motion and not fidgety, but like always in motion.
Mm.
In the middle of these musings and droppings of sugar and tea and coffee, you hear ding 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 ding, ding 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 ding, ding 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 ding. It's the front door. Who goes to answer it?
Hate that noise. And she will push herself off the counter and saunter over.
I
And
cannot answer the door. I'm in my morning clothes. Frog, this is not appropriate.
Jiayi just, for some reason, hates the sound of bells. Um, but so she will like rather quickly, not in like a visibly hurried kind of way, but just like fairly quickly, especially once she's out of view, um, will go to the door and open it.
At the door, you will see. First, you will see. How tall is Jiayi?
Um, let's make her cute. I think she's rather small, actually. I think she's a very petite looking girl, which makes maybe, in light of that, her earlier actions in the night a bit strange that she would have that strength, but leverage does a lot.
Well, then you have someone at eye level to you who is dressed all in dark purple with touches of lavender and lilac in a sweeping scarf and wide-brimmed flower hat, um, and has a bunch of flowers in her hand. And she looks at you like a little elderly lady, looks at you with beautiful gray eyes and stares at you and says, "Oh, aren't you a pretty thing? I I seem to recognize you, visiting the little Blackbirds Inn. You seem to be one also that comes and goes. Hmm. You are recognized as occasionally visiting the Little Blackbirds Inn, which is a place where people occasionally come and go. Is your comforting draw to the establishment for respite as an inn or with one of the escorts that's there?"
Um, I, honestly, I think both. I think I like Jiayi likes places of, as I said, like motion and movement and sort of this liminal place of an inn where travelers meet, where people go in and out. I think there's just something very comforting in that. And then, while she's there, if there's a pretty escort who's, in need of some financial support, why not?
Well,
But I think she is kind of careful with it because she knows that sometimes people get a little bit too much about her. So I think the financial bit helps her be like, that's it, right? We did it. Nothing's gonna happen now because this was a service and we did it. We don't need to be, yeah, okay. So yeah,
Business.
exactly. She's hoping that's gonna work, and I'm sure it will.
well, I'm glad to see a familiar face. Ah, I don't know whether this is. Well, I'm so sorry. I'm Miss Pemberton Potts. I've been your neighbor, but just recently back from a long trip. Here's my card. And she hands you this beautiful, elegant calligraphied card. She hands you actually a couple, like, for you and for anyone else in the home. And here's some flowers. Lovely, lovely. Rhododendron and daffodils. They're quite beautiful, aren't they?
How lovely indeed. I'm afraid I brought you no gift,
No,
though.
no, 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 no. This is purely me as being quite neighborly. But I also know that Hargrave House handles some strange issues. Is
Ah,
that
yes,
correct?
indeed. Would you like to come in and tell us about these strange issues?
Yes, yes. I am on here on behalf of the proprietor of Little Blackbirds. If that is all right.
Well, that is a very strange place indeed. And I think very gently I'll put my hand on her shoulder and like sort of usher her in, closing the door.
Yes, I mean, again, you basically are both of a size, so she's just as tiny as you are. So, yes, when you welcome her in, and do you call like the rest of the the folks in?
I imagine I usher her to the kitchen, maybe
Oh,
to Mordecai's dismay, because that's not where you conduct business, and also still
oh,
not dressed.
how
She's like, here.
how wonderfully cozy, and oh, and in states of undress. How quaint.
Strange issues are happening.
I will
I
slide
apologize.
over the
I
cup of
apologize
tea.
for my comport, but to her. But it is our kitchen, after all.
It's fine. I have several wards in my home. One is quite into the what did he call it? The newest German what did he call it? I'm so sorry. Turn Bewegung, I think it was called. With the fitness movement, I believe he called it. Yes, yes, yes. So he tends to be perhaps in a bit of a state of undress as well. So it is as it is. Anyway, I'm so sorry to disturb you. Is this all right to let you know what has happened?
Of course. Can I get you a cup of tea, cup of coffee?
Tea would be lovely.
Felix is going to slide over the cup of tea that Jiayi was filling with sugar.
This looks a bit murky.
Oh, sorry that the hospitality of Hargrave House was not to your liking. I'm sure we can find you a different cup of tea if you'd like.
As you're doing that, I'm already pouring her a cup, looking at you over at you like, Felix, what the hell?
I couldn't help myself, and I'll slide it back to the side.
Thank you. And she's like looking over at you, Ellie, warmly.
I think Jiayi at least is giving Felix kind of like, oh, that would have been so funny.
And so she says, so the news I bring from Little Blackbirds is very odd. My friend, Mother Mallory, who runs the place, one of her regular patrons, Lord Philip Brookmead, he was found dead in his usual room. Early this morning. What was strange about it was how he died. His body was hollowed out with branches growing where his heart should have been. I can only tell you this is rather disturbing.
Gotta say, that's a new one on me.
Yes. I was letting her know that I can keep it quiet. Lord Brookmead is not an unconsiderable peer, but I can keep it quiet for now. I can use some of my influence to help it be so. But, Scotland Yard would catch up with investigation within, I'm sure, 3 days, 3 nights, whatever. But like I said, I can only keep it quiet for so long. Would you be able to find out how this happened?
Yeah, yeah, I can do that. Is he still there, or have you moved him?
Oh, no. No. I mean, again, they just found his body early this morning. I don't think they quite know what to do, to be honest. This is not something that falls under their purview at all.
No.
I would imagine that people have died in this place, if not under such unusual circumstances. But we will be happy to take a look at
Uh,
the cause of the thing.
I just need to let you know. And she kind of takes a sidelong glance at Jiayi. This is a place that is known for its discretion. It is not only an inn, but it has a bit of a business that deals with clients that come and go. So, again, your discretion is needed,
Of course.
if that is all right.
Don't want to disturb the regular patrons, and don't want them to feel like we're prying into their business.
Exactly.
Ellie is always the soul of discretion.
Sure,
I'm putting the flowers in a, probably not even a vase, but like a cup.
They might need a little bit more water than that, but it's whatever you need, dear. It's whatever you need.
I'll take a pot and start filling the pot.
And you'd like this resolved before Scotland Yard gets involved and starts poking their nose into all this very sensitive business, I imagine.
Absolutely. If possible, yes. Please.
Yeah.
So, the Little Blackbirds Inn is located on Primrose Hill. You can't miss it. It has the view, and you're able to get to it. Please let me know if you need anything. Again, I can help keep Scotland Yard's nose out of it for at least a little while. But
do you know anything about this man who died? Family? I do not wish to raise a ruckus or anything, but you never know what was going on in his private life.
I know he has a widow.
Oh,
Lady
of
Sarah.
course.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Yes. Again, I stress discretion. And I thank you very much for looking into this. My friend, Mother Mallory, will be so appreciative. Just let her know that I recommended that you come and call.
Mother Mallory's association is...
She is the proprietor of Little Blackbirds.
Thank.
And I gave your colleague here my card. You may come and visit me at any point. I am your neighbor down the street.
A neighbor, how lovely. And you gave such lovely flowers. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And he'll just look at the card.
What was her name again?
Rose Lytton Pemberton Potts. I will type that into the chat. Okay. All right. So, and that is your introduction to the threat. Your questions and opportunities are is the killer one of the other patrons or one of the escorts? Because those were who was present that night. Complexity 4. You can resolve the threat by laying a trap for the perpetrator and catching or dispatching them. And the other question, which you could answer and it unlocks a custom move for this particular threat. How was the killer able to use the power of nature to murder Lord Brookmead while everyone was at the house? A complexity 4. Answering this question unlocks the custom move, the Forest's Sense.
Mm.
Okay. So, again, and that time limit is for real. So you have 3 night phases to get a move on. Otherwise, Scotland Yard may get involved.
So to review what we know, there was a lord who was going to the Blackbird Inn. They were found dead with branches growing out of their chest.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know who did it.
Nope.
We gotta keep this hush hush.
Yep.
And there's a widow involved, and it sounds like the proprietress of the Blackbird Inn is also aware of the situation.
Yes.
We don't know if the widow is involved, but there is a widow.
There is a widow. Yes.
Okay.
There is a widow. Yeah. And obviously there were other patrons and obviously the escorts that were present on site when shit went down. So who knows?
Is the Blackbird Inn our only location, or?
Yes.
Okay. Makes things simple.
Yep. Okay.
When you have time, could you just put like the
intro
intro text in? Because
so sorry.
This was a lot of information to sort of be
My apologies. Yeah, I just didn't want to include it because it was like this is also a custom threat that I created.
No, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. It's just, I mean, I guess because we only have one location, it's not that important, but still.
Yeah, because I also wasn't sure how much I was gonna get to in the beginning.
That's fair.
All right. Yeah. All right. Here we go. And then I'm going to plug in the questions and opportunities into the tab as well.
I typed them, but feel free to revise because it's probably not how they are actually worded.
Yep.
I think for the day phase end, Jiayi is going to talk to her favorite escort over there.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll give you some names. Yeah. I'll just give you some names. Yep.
You know, give them some financial support, as the kids are calling it these days.
I think I will get dressed properly and then move myself over to this place as well. I will ask before I do that if anybody else is going, because it would be rather, I think, strange if we all were to arrive and separately, but there might also be a profit in not all arriving at the same point. I do not know this.
Oh, and there's also a mask associated with this threat.
Ooh, cool.
The mask of the... Why am I doing this the hard way? I have no idea. The mask of the sharpened glade.
Oh.
Ooh. Perhaps it makes most sense for Jiayi to go separately, since she is known here and knows people here, and then the rest of us to go together.
Yes. And then Felix can charm the lady of the house, and I can look at the unusual sightings that might be found there. And then we will hope for somebody to attack us, Ellie, so you can do the thing you are very good at.
Indeed.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously you have a contact over at the inn itself. So you've got Mother Mallory, who again you can like by card of introduction if you want, like to talk with, and then of course the escorts. And I will give some names. So let me see. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names for escorts and a few patrons here. So they are all still at the Little Blackbirds. Okay. you know what? I'm just gonna like list the names in the chat, and then you can decide, Jazy, like who you like or who you want to talk to. So is Jazy gonna go, or I should say, Jiayi gonna be going separately, and is everybody else going together? Is that how it's
I
gonna
I
be?
think that is the plan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. That is fine.
Mhm.
So this way, Jazy can pick who she wants to talk to, or is her favorite. And again, Mother Mallory is the proprietor. So, let's go with. Do you think that Jiayi would have like jumped up and like gone first, or do you think she would have hung back and then like let everybody else go first?
Bold of you to think she has any impulse control. Um, I think.
Just checking.
No, I love that. Yeah, no, I think she would have gone first. I think especially like as when Ellie would have said like, "Oh, I think we should be going private," then I think it makes sense for Jiayi to go first.
Hmm.
Because if like suddenly three people that never showed up show up, something has happened,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think yeah, Jiayi can maybe go first and see what the vibe is before
Sure.
Hargrave House
Yeah, especially
barges
because
in.
like you've been there and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not my presence doesn't necessarily like inherently tip the scales, whereas like the presence of the three other hunters definitely will.
For sure. It's like we heard something
Yeah.
weird went on. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Hmm.
Okay, so who is your favorite? Who's your favorite escort, or who's the one that you would have probably tagged on for?
I think Nora Allenson, an escort and a willing gardener.
Okay, cool. All right. So I mean, like maybe you don't even go to the front door. Maybe you go out to the garden, like
Yeah, I
meet
think
her.
because of my Dawn question, I think maybe we see Nora gardening. Do you have a specific season in mind, or is it fine if I say that it's spring?
Oh, that's fine. Spring is great. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, then I think like, some of these flowers are already blooming. And I think we see Jiayi like sort of, the flutter of her silk hanfu. And she is like suddenly sort of like just appearing on the scene, right? And
Hmm.
then she will like very playfully walk over to Nora in like this almost supernatural grace where she's walking between these flowers and disturbing none of them.
Nice. Okay.
Like almost like a ballet pointed toes, like walking through them. Very playful. And like she doesn't like this is not she's not looking at her feet. Like she just knows where these flowers are and knows not to hurt them.
Right. I'm going to say though, I mean, like this is Little Blackbirds is a inn on a hill, on Primrose Hill. I mean, not very high, but I mean, like it's like it has a view, especially when you go up on the rooftop terrace. But this garden behind it is kind of ornate because it has like a hedge maze. It's got a puzzle garden behind it. It has a hedge maze, and there is something in the middle of the hedge maze. Um, so there's a garden gazebo back there. But she is in the front, of course, like working on um, the plots like around it, like to beautify the place, like for the edging and such. And it's like, I forgot. I'm sorry. Did you surprise her, or did you just kind of like just watch her first before you said anything?
I think I surprise her in that sense where like she's just gardening and she can hear like someone. I'll like very deliberately make a noise when I'm almost there so she can look up and see me.
Oh goodness. Oh, Jai, it's good to see you. And she's tiny too. She's like a tiny ballerina like ingenue. She's got
All
shining
these
green
tiny
eyes.
people love that for us.
Don't piss her off though. She's charming until she gets until her fiery temper is like like provoked. But yeah, she's actually like dressed horribly like right now because when she's in the garden, she's grubbing. She's dressed up in
Mhm,
boys' clothes right now.
mhm.
So she's got the cap over her eyes, and then she's kind of like, and she's kind of like she's got like dirt stains on her pretty face and everything. And this isn't a good time.
Why not?
Something happened.
I know.
How do you know? Did you just get here?
Well, here, yes.
I mean, it just happened this morning. One of the other people died.
Will you tell me what happened? But maybe not out here. And I will give her hand and sort of like raise her up to her feet and like very like light and playfully I want to bring her to the hedge maze. And I
Oh,
want to have this conversation while we are going through the head mage and find what's at the center of it.
okay. Um,
So she maybe feels a little bit more secure because she's like
sure,
hidden.
sure. So basically, what you find is the garden gazebo. The garden gazebo is a beautifully sculpted structure placed in the center of the puzzle garden, the hedge maze, behind the inn. Paint the scene. What kind of tale would the gazebo tell if it could speak of its visitors that reach the heart of this maze?
And that goes to everyone, right?
Yes.
So I think my answer will be with the tale of the music that you hear on occasionally in this gazebo, the tale of someone bringing a violin and making music for the patrons, someone singing a sad song for someone they lost. Yeah, different kinds of music, really. Flutes, body songs.
I think that there are nails and hooks and other signs that decor had been hung on this gazebo previously, and that would tell stories of uh, small events that were hosted here, secret weddings or quiet funerals, and it's been the meeting place for people who want to celebrate something but don't want it to be a public affair.
I think in that vein, there are like little bits of chipped wood. And if it could speak, I think it would speak of sparks of rebellion, little schemes and plots made here because it is easier to imagine yourself against the world when you are alone and kept safe by secrecy and large greenery. So much easier to say it here than it is to say in London when you are having the air squeezed out of you by its streets, its black smoke, its ever oppressing grandness.
And I think the benches of the gazebo, the benches around the edge, uh, could tell tales. Sometimes they hold many people. More often, two people who slip out here for some fresh air and a different sort of privacy than the rooms of the house itself. But not infrequently, one person alone will come out here. Someone who works at the inn most frequently uh, will slip out here, say, in the wee hours of the morning after a long night, uh, just to have a little space away from their work, away from their day to day. and to breathe and to be themselves without having to be what others expect of them.
And this is where you bring Nora. It was horrible. It was just... It was, I think... He had asked for Cobb last night. And Cobb found him. And, it was just so horrible. And she starts to cry in her mud-stained hands.
Oh dear, that's not necessary, Flower. And I will go towards her, and if she allows me, I will sort of, wipe the tears and then pull her into a gentle hug until she can compose herself.
You didn't see it? It was like a black hole in the center of his chest. Never saw anything like that before.
Why did you see it? Why did they not keep you out of the room?
Couldn't help it. We were all crowding to see why he had screamed. You know, Cobb. Well, maybe you don't. Cobb reads. Doesn't get excited about anything. I mean, just couldn't help it. I was staring up at the ceiling. Just lying there. Terrifying.
Well, and whatever it was, it will not get to you. I won't let it. And I would like to pluck a flower and put it like in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like, if you allow it, given sort of my more supernatural nature,
Yeah.
I would kind of like to use this flower and like my general magic to see if there's like residue on her,
Mm-hmm.
or like she's marked or something in a supernatural way,
Sure.
or to basically like get a clue that way.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
That sounds to me like sensitivity, if
Yes.
you would allow it.
So that's your way of doing an information move?
Yes,
Yes. Go for it.
precisely.
Perfect.
Unless you're just like presence, because I've been sort of like talking to her anyhow, but
I mean, like if you're trying to Jones for a clue, then definitely information move.
yeah, but with sensitivity or presence.
I'll accept sensitivity because of the way you're trying to gauge it.
That would bring it to a 7.
Okay, 7. All right. All right. So let's see which looks good here. I think as you put the flower in her hair and you kind of like smooth back her hair, and like the touch is like trying to soothe but also like kind of like, do this what do they call it? Phrenology thing where like the touch is giving you images, through your supernatural touch. I think you're able to get flashes of what she saw, right? So you're able to kind of get a flash of like the body. You're able to get a flash of like Cobb's horrified face. You're able to get a flash of the room. And I think what you see is sorry, I'm going to add this to the clue list if I can get there. You get a flash of, and it's a weird place too. This is why it's coming up, and you don't know why it's like not on a table, or you don't know why it's just like in the middle of the room, and nobody else is noticing because they're freaked out. Is a vase of dying pansies. In the middle of the room. Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine with cutting the spotlight over to someone else and maybe coming back to this.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm gonna say that, like as we cut away and you see this flash of dying pansies, you hold on. For your 7, you hear a little laugh. And it's not coming from Nora, and it's not coming from anywhere around you. It's coming from as if you're hearing sound inside that flash, and it's like you saw the vase and it's like something's laughing, having been seen by you. And flashing over to all the rest of you, whoever's going to little Blackbirds, like, so we can like kind of fast forward, so maybe this is like later on in the morning, or soon after, taking another carriage, and maybe you will end up later on but going to the front of the house. So yeah.
Sounds like we're going as a trio.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, you're the best person to talk us in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fletcher, Laurence, and Ocasio are going in. All right.
Felix.
So when you get to the front door, it's Mother Mallory who will answer the door. And Mother Mallory is a well-endowed woman who has a deeply resonant voice and smells of jasmine. And she's looking at you kind of suspiciously. Yes? I'm sorry. We're having a bit of a cleaning today. Can we help you? Or is this something that can wait until possibly a few days from now? Our rooms are let at the moment.
Today is a cleaning, and we are here to help with that. And Felix will extend the card.
Oh, and she just kind of sighs in relief as she puts a hand on her bosom. So, Miss Pemberton Potts sent you. Wonderful. Oh,
Is there an office where we can speak?
absolutely. And she will gesture for you 3 to come in, and she will you will enter into a well-appointed foyer.
Mm-hmm.
It's large, it's well lit, it has kind of like this like hardwood floors with like deep plush carpeting thrown down. It's got like a double staircase leading upwards, and like the through hallway like leads down a hallway that has a back office. And
Nice.
her office is pretty wide too. And she has like 2 chairs and then a chair off to the side. And
What's the mood like in the inn as we're walking to the back office? And I guess we see the
There's a-
other.
there's a pall over it. I mean, like there's people peeking out from behind from other doors, but nobody's coming out to necessarily like see who's here. I mean, maybe they're peeking out, but then like now that they don't see that there's any cops, then they're like they're going back. They're
Yeah.
going back to where they are.
They're all processing in their own way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, clearly I'm taking a seat.
I'll take the one off to the side.
Okay.
Just kind of kick back, legs out in front of me, crossed the ankles.
I
And
will
she
leave the
take.
last chair to the proprietor, of course. I can stand. It's fine.
Well, she goes behind her desk.
Oh, okay. I did not count that one. Then I will take that one.
Yeah. So, so, how would you be able to help? Uh, this is something I've not dealt with before.
You've never dealt with a death on the premises?
Not like this. If this was something merely of, oh, he had a heart attack, or he, well,
The numerous other ways that somebody might die in an inn.
yes. If there was any possible blame to one of my escorts, then I would I would defend them to the last. I put up with much nonsense within my walls. However, I do not tolerate with bullying of my staff. So, but this could not have been any of my employees. It's too
Why?
possible.
Set aside the fact that it was some plant issue that relieved Lord Phillips of his heart. Was Lord Philip an angel?
I beg your pardon?
Did Lord Philip have any enemies among your employees, among your clientele? Was Lord Philip beloved by all, and this is such a sad travesty? Or was he a real heel?
I don't pretend to know my client's business. We are in the business of utmost discretion.
But you know how he treated your people. Was there ever a problem?
Not that I know of, no. And they know to come to me as soon as there's any issue with anyone.
Well, then that means that the only alternative, if you have such faith in your employees, this family that you have here, then it has to be one of your clientele.
That could be,
More palatable
yes,
of an option.
much more palatable. I would prefer it.
And you can claim that you don't know anything about those who come and those who go. But you have to know something, as my associate Ellie here said. So what do you know?
The patrons that were here, or have been here, are still here, and they have agreed to stay until we know why or who has done anything about this. They know they fall under suspicion if they leave.
Good.
So Regular's who's who is under house arrest. And if any of them were to be found here, that would be a real mess, wouldn't it?
Miss Pemberton Potts has been quite kind, and she will keep this quiet and help us keep it quiet. Can you help us find who did this, or what did this, before Scotland Yard gets wind of this?
We're going to need to see the body.
Of course, of
and
course.
we're going to need to talk probably first to Cobb. And, well, first, since I hadn't heard the name of who found the body. First, the one who found the body, and then move on from there.
Before we move on from there, I would have a question. If you would indulge me, has there anything else strange happened on these premises, even little things, like flowers growing where they were not supposed to be, or blooming, fruiting out of season, things like these.
Information move, please.
Yes.
With reason.
Reason is the good one. Okay. It's a 9.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Pray tell.
So, one of our escorts, Nora, one of my staff, she likes to garden when she's not working, and one of the things that she had found was ivy boughs, and we don't have any ivy here. We have no idea where it came from. Ivy boughs were hung in the halls, and not even in the halls. They were hung on the ceiling. And if you saw Nora, you would not know how this was done, because Nora is no higher than half of you. She is a tiny little thing. There's no way that she would have been able to do this herself.
Well, I mean, she might use a ladder. Could she not?
All the hallways, every single hallway ceiling, in less than an hour.
That is indeed strange. Did you keep these bows?
Yes, they are in the back room.
I would like to examine them, please.
Certainly, of course.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I can have you meet Stilton. Stilton is still... Oh, I had to give him a different room, of course. He couldn't go back to his.
Sure. How many clients, guests, whatever term you prefer, are here now?
Luckily, unluckily, 3 remaining.
Okay.
Lord
Are
Brit-
they aware of the situation?
They are now.
Hmm.
I had to tell them. I didn't know who was in danger.
Do they know that there was a death or that there was a strange death?
To be honest, it was very difficult to hide any of the strangeness of the situation when Mr. Stilton roared the house down this morning. He is not of an excitable nature. So to have him scream as high as he did was shocking to everyone.
Well, what do you think, gents? Do we look at the body first? Do we talk to Cobb first?
Maybe we should play to our strengths. I would like to examine either the body or the room. Talking to people, I've been told that is not my forte. I look a little puzzled by this whole this whole idea that I'm not good at that.
I can handle talking to some of the clientele and figuring out if there are any rivalries.
I am sure you're very capable of talking to people, Felix.
One final question before we do go, though. For the lady of the house, tell me true.
Lady of the house?
The madam. Looking at the boss lady. That
Wait, she's Mother Mallory. She's the
Mother
proprietor of
Mallory.
Little
Yes.
Blackbirds. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
For Mother Mallory.
Yeah.
One final question.
Yes.
What are you most afraid of us finding out about? We're here stirring up business, stirring up trouble, digging deep. And if there's anything that you don't want us to find out about, it's better that you tell us now. And I would like to information move with presence. Ooh, I don't like that. No.
What did you
no,
do?
no.
What did you do?
I got a 6.
What?
No. Behold, my dice luck has emerged once again.
My God, dude.
No. All right, so I'm gonna mark most beloved and no.
What?
No. We're not gonna do that. The stakes are low. The most is that I just annoy the person that hired us. So
She stands most proudly and looks at you with her fingertips on her desk, her bosom thrust practically in your face, and says, I don't like the implications of what you are saying. Miss Pemberton Potts, I trust. I do not know you, sir, at all.
yet. And Felix will stand up and say, fair enough, and leave.
And consider yourself, let's see. Would you consider yourself chastened by Mother Mallory, or no? Like you still
No. I think I'm on her list of like
Yeah.
people that she does not want to deal with. I may be able to flatter everyone else, but I think she has my number.
Yeah, on Mother Mallory's list. That's your
Yes.
condition. It's like
Take the condition, this little shit.
yes.
this
all
little
right.
shit. That sounds better. Yeah, okay. Oh my God. You are under her little boot heel dealer. My God.
If you're
Mordecai.
handling, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say Mordecai will give Ellie just this kind of look like, yeah, okay, he's good at talking to people.
Before we leave, let me go annoy our employer by asking the most deeply incisive personal question I can.
Oh God. Because I had a clue. I had a really good clue all ready for you, but you muffed it, man.
What do we do? What can
What
we do?
can we do? Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I
dice
love
have
your
declared.
luck. I love your luck. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, great. Okay.
So, why don't you go talk to clients, maybe? Can I talk to Cobb? I will ask Mother Mallory.
I
I understand the sensitivity of the business you conduct here, and I'm not gonna pry into matters that aren't related, but I do need to know what he saw and all that firsthand.
She turns from looking at him scathingly, but then looks to you, and then looks you up and down, and says, "Yes, I think you do. I think you would be able to talk to Mr. Stilton." And she lets you know where his room is found. And yeah, so if we want to, yeah, because I mean, like, basically I want to keep within 3 hours until we do something insane. Let's go ahead and end the session there for right now. Usually I end like on a cliffhanger, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. So if you have just like somebody brought this up on my last series, and I think it's a good idea, and I'll bring it up again. If you have gone through your dawn questions, okay, so don't mark the XP just yet, because I mean, like, we'll go over it officially, but like if you have hit your dawn question, like in the course of the role play in any of the scenes that you've done today, let's take a look at them, and then you can at least mark them under the dawn question itself. Okay. So, for the American, did you encourage a fellow hunter to let loose for a change?
Not really.
Did you stick out in London society for all the wrong reasons?
Don't think so. I've been pretty discreet thus far.
Okay.
The worst I've done is drink coffee instead of tea.
You didn't stick out in London society yet, though. Okay.
Not yet.
Undeniable. Okay. Did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane?
Not yet.
Did you appear in London society wearing risque or avant-garde fashion? Remember, this is your chance to say the most outrageous things. So.
Not yet. I haven't presented myself to the clientele.
Okay. Alrighty. Vessel, did you have a face-to-face encounter with a dark entity?
I don't think Felix counts, so no.
I mean, in the opening.
Yes. Oh my god, that's so funny.
We have a good crew here.
That's so funny. Oh. If you want to count our opener, that's fine.
I will count our opener for the ritual.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool. So yeah, just mark the dawn question. No, don't mark the XP just yet.
Oh no.
So this way it doesn't get confused. Yeah. So just mark
right.
just mark the dawn question,
No,
and then
I did that.
and then we'll mark the XP when we get to the official dawn phase.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Fox, did you use your otherworldly charm to grace or impress someone? Yes, you did.
That's what I was aiming for,
Yep.
both with like hoisting this fucking huge dude, even though she's like tiny, and then with like the entrance with the flowers was also very much like not overtly supernatural, but definitely a feat of impressive grace.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know if Nora was impressed. It didn't sound like it, but that was the intention.
Okay. Fair enough. Did you hide your true feelings for someone beneath lies and misdirection?
I was planning to do so, but the scene hasn't come up yet, so not yet.
Okay, not yet. All right, great. All right, so again, we'll do the official when we get to dawn phase. All right, but for right now, all right. So we are good to go for the beginnings of day phase, which isn't over just yet. So we have, oh boy, we've started. So nervousness over, even though like I feel like I'm like just a jumble of stuff. But all right. Stars and wishes. We know how this goes. Stars are things that you appreciated about the session, the gameplay, each other, and wishes are what you'd like to see for the future or next time. Whew.
May I start?
Yeah, please.
So general stars. Clearly Ellie and Mordecai are the responsible adults of Hargrave House, between Felix and Jiayi. I'm looking forward to seeing if that dynamic holds, or no, I'm seeing a shaking.
It's not gonna.
Nope.
It's not gonna.
Right. It's been nice to see the composed Ellie, like just kind of jumping into that between, oh, there's the Guardian, Ellie going and grabbing the Strikebreakers. Well, sacrifice is right here. Let's get this business done. Being very direct, very pointed, asking the right questions, sort of being a good interface towards side characters, whether it's working with Mother Mallory or even with Mrs. Pemberton Potts when Felix is trying to give her over sugared tea and not be a good host. So I really appreciate the characterization there. For Mordecai, just being calm, quiet about the business, but also summoning all the rats of London to take care of the work, not losing focus. And then just the nice, quiet characterization of, I have work to do, very serious, focused work. I'm going to go into a separate room. I'm going back to the kitchen because that's where everyone else is, and I don't want to be in the room alone. Was very sweet. And then finally was Mother Mallory going about the clue, describing it, the ivy. It's just too tall. And have you seen our gardener? She's too short. And Mordecai just saying, have you considered a ladder? So I thought that just the very dry presentation of Mordecai made me appreciate the character. And then finally, Jazy, this very sweet, very cute, very terrifying introduction to this character of a tee-hee, a snap of the neck, and then just like something out of a horror movie. And then we pan to her like 8 hours later, and she's just plinking sugar into tea because it makes a funny sound. Um, just I feel a chaotic energy that Felix will play off of, and it will be very fun. And then Mads, thank you for bringing this together from the cold open, which like you did very well. Presenting the drowned guardian gives us a good opportunity for everyone to shine, to just owning it when Felix sticks his foot in his mouth and just rocking it. It was very fun. I look forward to seeing how the rest of this plays out.
Yeah, I can go next. Do you want to do stars and wishes or stars first and come around back for? Uh-huh. Yeah, stars. I mean, I got a star, the 6 on the dice. I do love it. I think it's very funny. But also I just start a question. Like, I love how absolutely convoluted the logic was, but I think I love just the confidence of, listen, if there is a secret, I will find it. So just tell me. Like, very bored, undeniable energy of like, listen, we don't need to be doing all this. Like I've done this so many times before, so just tell me. Very funny. I would have absolutely cackled if it had worked for the sheer wait, what? Energy of the question. I also kind of love that it didn't, because to me, like if this was a series, I'd be like, oh, she has a dark secret, right? That's why she's not responding. So I like that setup. And I just love like the very small, like troll details that you've given us about Felix, like eating off the painting in like petty revenge of getting wet, and then like trying to give the sugar because like she didn't like she's coming in here unannounced and like trying to give the cup of sugary tea just to see how she's gonna react. Like just small but very yeah, just like a gadfly, just being like, oh, let me see what this is gonna do. Let me poke it. Dance little thing. I thought that was very fun take on the undeniable. Um, yeah, Kathleen, I love Ellie gives real like big sister vibes. Where she's like kind of just like the cool one who's like hanging back, taking care of it, but not like in a like overly serious way the way Mordecai is, but more like, all right, I'm gonna hurt the cats. Let's get this done. I really loved like grabbing them by the shoulders and then wanting to talk to Cobb. I really just love how you're setting Ellie up as kind of like in control and composed and like cool, because that's going to be a really fun contrast when we start to get into the quickening and we realize that no, Ellie is not in control, is she? I think that's a very fun characterization to bring that further. Sabine, yeah, I loved the rats. That was very, very fun. Yeah, I echoing what Mike has said. I just love it's a very fun take on the vessel, like very serious, but then also and um like very concerned with propriety and the rules of society. And I think that's very interesting given how by their very nature they live outside of these rules. So I think that's like a very interesting characterization, and I'm interested to see how you're going to like what that means for the character and why they're holding on to that so much. Mads, yeah, I thought very, very, I mean, thank you for organizing this. Thank you for running it. I'm interested to see your mastermind. That's a wish. Um, uh, yeah, I think just a good job of keeping it, getting us through that first session, which I feel is always like a little bit, everybody's gotta find their footing. Wish, yeah, I'd love to start seeing the different dynamics that we have. I'd love to see how that is. I'm curious to see how this is going to feel given that it's like such a compact, since there's only like one location, but we do have like quite a bit of clues to find. So I'm interested how that's going to work and if there's like enough, like I'm interested to see like what else is here for us to find clue wise and location wise and character wise.
Well, I definitely want to echo everything that's been said about the awesome moments that we've had. Uh, I have a feeling that Ellie and Felix is going to be a a definite story of Felix getting under Ellie's skin, whether intending intentionally or not, and Ellie, I'm gonna be over here. I'm gonna be doing something useful. I'm not gonna be dealing with that right now. And eventually that's gonna blow up. It's going to happen. Uh, and we'll see exactly how that goes. But I think it's gonna be a fun dynamic. Um, my favorite Mordecai moment that hasn't been mentioned was being offered the handkerchiefs. Like, no, that is a disgusting, grubby handkerchief. I will use my nice handkerchief. Thank you. To deal with that little nosebleed issue. That was just a great little moment of you have brought a situation to my attention. It should be dealt with. Not that way. That was beautiful. Um, and I think Ellie is kind of fascinated by Jiayi because they have such utterly different energies and ways of dealing with the world. Ellie is not about the pretty and the delicate and you know and any of that. At the same time, she's like, "What is this? I'm trying to figure it out." Hmm. So I think there's going to be curiosity more than anything in at, at least initially in that regard. Um, but definitely stars for Mads. I this was a great opener to the game, and I'm really looking forward to this whole group, this whole campaign, this whole dynamic. Uh comment in the chat. And
Go ahead and read it out.
wishes. Oh yeah. Uh this is from Jazy. All right, vulnerable move where we're shopping for pretty things, and with that I mean Jiayi is stealing a bunch of shit for Ellie. Yeah, yeah, I can totally see that. Um, so yeah, I think my stars can basically be summed up as I'm eager to see both where the game is going overall and how the character dynamics are going to shake out. Uh, so yeah, more,
Uh,
more, more.
oh, yeah, more stars. Okay. I will give stars to all of you. I love these characters. They're all very funny. I just love Felix just barging in with the charisma. Like, yeah, you've got to love me, right? Come on. And maybe not doing that all the time, which also was really fun to see. But I also loved how he manipulated these dock workers and the head honchos into that confrontation. That was great, and I loved it. And I also like Jiayi's energy. I like that little giggle you do. This is a wish. I want to hear more of that. Yeah, I love this like kind of energy, like nothing is serious here. We're all doing this for our own fun, right? And another wish, and this is a long-term wish, would be to see where that breaks. Because they have to have things that touch them, right? And Ellie, I just love this. Yeah, I'm here. I'm a very direct person. I'm not too fussed with these niceties, and I drink coffee, of course. I really like that contrast where everybody was like, yeah, we're drinking tea. She was like, or playing with our tea as it was. And Matt, I really loved the cold open. That was so much fun. And we got to see these characters in action, and I think that told us a lot about who they were. Like Ellie just going directly into where the action was, Felix actually thinking about stuff and finding the pressure point that helped. So that was great. And Jiayi just playing with someone who was playing with someone, that was also kind of, and saving someone else. It's also nice. Yeah. Yeah, that was just great. And I love this mystery. And yeah, yes. So that's my stars wishes. I said some of them. I don't have any particular wish. I just, yeah, yep, yep, yep. I'm just very happy with where we are. I would like to have some kind of interaction in the future with my interest in hunting and Jayi's well, maybe not that also interest in hunting, but in a different way. So yeah.
These characters are going to be bazonkers, and I cannot wait to see the interactions between them, because there's already going to be some interesting byplay considering the people's vices and who the playbooks are, and yeah, and knowing what I know about the future for certain playbooks, it could fall very much overlapping into other playbooks. So this is going to be fun. And then I haven't even introduced, like, this majority of stuff for my mastermind yet. So I mean, hey, and this new mystery associated with my mastermind is also new. So, playtesting that too. Yay! Everything's all being playtested. Thank you all for being patient and supporting this. So, yeah. All Stars mentioned great character moments between the cold open and, of course, the beginning of day phase for this mystery. Yeah, I mean, all the little touches of people being, like little teasers or like, little tricksters and everything like that. One of the major stars that I have is when you all answered the paint the scene question for the garden gazebo. I when I send the playback to you, you may want to watch that scene again, because I found it interesting that you all answered it in the mode of your characters, whether you realized it or not. And I thought that was amazing. So, stars to you for, again, just being able to answer in such a way that it ties back to your characters very, very well. And again, being excellent role players for cold open and for regular phase playing. So stars have been already mentioned, so I'm not going to repeat them. And I just can't wait to get to know these characters more, because there's going to be a lot of byplay between all of you, as well as between some of the side characters, and I can't wait to see what you do with the said side characters. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the interactions are going to be great, and I'm going to be revisiting some of my favorite threats, as well as, like, going into some new ones that I have not run yet, because of different reasons. So, I mean, I'm just going to throw them into this series because I haven't run them. So this is going to be a challenge for me as well. Stretching my wings, all right? So we're just going to try all sorts of shit like for this one. Thank you all again. I can't wait. So those are my wishes, just stretching everybody's chops for this. And yeah, more of the same. Let's see these characters fly. Can't wait. All right, I'm not going to keep you much longer. Thank you all very much for this great first session. I will see you later. All right, like happy gaming for the week, and I will see you next time.
See ya.
Thank you for running.
Bye.
Well, because I mean, I can totally do that. That's fine.
I'm not gonna say no to a reward for a threat after one seat. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So I'm gonna just post these in the chat, and then you can pick from them. Come on. Because then you can also have access to other things as well. Some of these things don't really make a lot of sense, but what the hell, right? Okay. So I'm just going to read them off, and then whether I put them actually into the recording is whatever. One preserved eel in a dull green bottle. Grants protection from drowning. Single use. Add it to your personal quarters. A tarnished bell, wrought in the shape of a crab. When rung, it summons a swarm of crawling sea scavengers to dispose of organic matter, but has no obvious means to dismiss them. Add it to your personal quarters. A small painting of a sea monster layered on driftwood in a religious why can't I pronounce this word? Iconographic style. Add it to your personal quarters. Nim Granby becomes a recurring side character. You get one extra clue on the information move when you consult them on matters concerning demons, or you may make a roll with advantage when attempting an appropriate ritual with their assistance. A memento from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is and then add it to your personal quarters. A memento from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is and then add it to your personal quarters. The Nim Granby is, I would treat it like a threat move, so everybody gets that. So if somebody takes it, then everybody gets it. Okay. So, take your pick.
I'll take Nim Granby if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll get him, and I will put that into the... trying to remember where exactly they put them now. Okay, special moves. Yeah, so I'll start plugging in special moves into the Hunters tab. It's on the left, like underneath everything else now. That's where these things are found. So, change any move, hover overhead. Yep. Okay.
I'd like the crab bell.
Go for it.
I love the fact that there's no way to get rid of the scavenger.
I know, right? It's so weird.
That's what makes it fun.
I know. It's so weird.
I would be good to take the small painting of a sea monster, tastefully in driftwood.
I'm just going to take a memento. Papa Kathleen, would you like to tell me what I got?
Let's see. I think that what you got is the gold-headed cane that was carried by one of the bosses.
Nice.
Was left on the docks when everything else was swept away.
God, for the magic of editing, because I wouldn't be able to do this otherwise.
Oh, I forgot that it was a vitality ritual.
Time for the American to thrive.
Hey, be glad I didn't do like freaking slugger or whatever,
How would you dare to do the slugger without like doing?
I know. I would do the slugger. I would do the slugger for you guys, but I mean,
Yeah,
like,
come
it
on
may not
now.
fit. That may not fit. So sorry. Okay,
None of the time pressure. Just, there's a boxing match with a guy and you're done.
That would be a really cool cold open though. Like just someone just open like you're in the ring with the slugger. Watch the whole table go like, wait, what?
Exactly. You'd hate my guts. I swear to God, you'd be like, "What the fudge, man?
The
I don't
instant
like
panic.
you. I would hate you all." Yes.
Time for a really quick ritual.
Yes.
That's right. Unfortunately, we had to throw the most inappropriate person in to go 1v1 with the slugger.